Hello friends, this is Into Fly Fishing. I am Nick Jovanovich, and today we're going to take a deep dive look into the Rise Reel from Redington. So here we go. Like I said, I'm Nick Jovanovich. I've been fly fishing for almost 35 years now. I've been guiding professionally in Southwest Montana for the last 15. So I've seen, used, and played with a lot of equipment over the years. Not only myself, but as a guide, I get to see how other people use the same equipment that we do and how long it really will last. We get a lot of use in a short period of time when we're out all the time with clients, and so we witness them use and abuse the same equipment, and that gives us a pretty good idea of the longevity of the stuff that we're talking about here. We also have a short video on the best saltwater rods, so don't forget to check the link down below and check that out. That's a really great video for you to watch. If you're looking into the Redington Rise, you've already probably scoped a few other reels, maybe the TFO NTR that no tools required, something from Sage maybe, like the Spectrum C, maybe the Lamson Remix. Lamson makes some good reels too, but let me show you the features in the construction on this Redington Rise reel and help you make a better informed decision. Before we continue, it'd be really awesome if you could subscribe to this YouTube channel. It does cost us a lot of money to bring these videos to you. We buy all this gear here ourselves. It's not gifted to us. And if you can just hit like on this video and subscribe to this channel, it would help us out huge. It would help us immensely. So thank you very much. Links for ordering any of the stuff that we're talking about in these videos can also be found down in that description. So if you use those links, that gives us a kickback as well. That helps us bring these videos to you all the time, and we can keep doing this for you. So again, really appreciate it. Would really love a follow from you. Thank you so very much. Of course, if you go to Redington's website, they're going to have a list of the basic specs for you. Nice, easy, concise chart for you to check out. Of course, those are important things to look at. We also did our own measuring and compared that to what Redington had said on their website to confirm everything. This thing has been water tested. I've had this reel for probably 3 years now. I've used it and abused it. Friends and clients have used it as well. So I've got a lot of experience with this reel alone in witnessing how it performs on the water and how long it might last for you. We did a lot of drag pull tests, cranking the knob down, cranking the knob up, pulling with hand, tying it off to something and pulling. And of course, I have caught plenty of fish on this reel here. And so I've got a pretty good feel of what this drag is all about. A little bit about what's in the box when you buy one of these from the store, get it shipped to you. Click on that link below that we talked about. Of course, you get, well, the box. When you open that up, it's going to have the reel encased in this nice nylon reel caddy. This thing has a nice little padding to it. It's got this handy Velcro flap, and there you can see the reel inside. And that thing is great for storage and transportation. And I like this a lot better than some of the other companies that just have a little sock that kind of goes over the reel. This works out really well for transportation when you've got the reel attached to the rod. I've got one set up right here so you can see what I mean. Boom. Traveling in the boat, in the car, look at that. Your reel is protected. That flap just goes right over the end of the rod and you're good to go. So I like this case. It's a nice case from Redington there. Of course, if we open this up, check out the reel itself. We'll pull that out, and there you go. Of course, yours won't come with line on it already. This is mine. I've got it lined up. This is the 910 version, so this is a pretty big boy. This is what I use for saltwater or spey casting too. This one just came off of my spey rod. The finish on this thing is a nice bright silver. It's got a good hard finish to it, and it really will looks like it's going to last over the years. Mine is the silver colorway. It's a simple color look to it, nice bright silver, and the overall look and feel of this reel is really, really nice. This is on the higher end for Redington, but it just has a nice modern spoke design and nice porting on this thing. It looks like a really, really cool reel. On the back end here, you see the drag knob and that V shape on the outside of the frame structure. It's just a nice, pretty large arbor, modern looking reel. Let's talk about the construction and the components of this reel. This is a true large arbor reel here, and an upgrade definitely from the Rise 2. This is a Rise 3, version 3. This is an upgrade from the Rise 2, which was considered a large arbor, but it was definitely something in or what I would call a medium arbor size. This 910 version is 4.4 inches across. The width on this thing, for as big a reel as this is not an overly fat reel. It's a fairly medium thin sized spool and reel. And what that's going to do is it's going to really stack line nicely in here as you're reeling it in. Sometimes a larger, wider reel, you get a whole bunch of line going side to side like this, and it can move and play a little bit. With that narrower spool, that line really stacks on top of itself. Really nice. Good hard finish, like I had mentioned. This is a machined bar stock aluminum, so fully machined reel. There's nothing cast on here. Very open spoke design, nice modern spokes on it, and you can see the porting on the spool itself. Very open, so that's going to number one, reduce weight, and it's going to allow air to get in there to dry off the line all the way down to the backing inside there. So you want to store that real quick. It's going to dry out fast and not going to hold water in there. So that's really great. The reel handle is right there. It's got a pin in the middle, but is a rubber grip reel. This is pretty comfortable actually to hold on to. It's got a little bit of a tack to it and a little bit of a flare shape coming out. The Rise 3 comes in a variety of sizes, of course. As stated before, my 910 is the biggest in the bunch, and I've used this big reel because, again, this is from my spey rod, so it's a 7-weight spey rod, but I use the 910 reel because your Skagit line is really thick and heavy. It takes up a lot of space, and I got a good amount of backing on this thing too. This thing is also available in a 3/4, 5/6, and a 7/8 version. My 910, of course, is a big guy. It's about 6.3 ounces. The 3/4 is coming in at 4 ounces. The 5/6 weight is about 4.5 ounces, maybe just over. I think it's like 4.6. And then the 7 and 8 is 5.5 ounces. So fairly light, not the lightest that you'll find, but still fairly light. It's not super heavy at all. And even though I wouldn't consider the Rise 3 an ultra light feeling reel, it just, again, in the hand, it doesn't feel too heavy, and it feels rather balanced on any rod that I've ever fished it with. Whether I'm fishing a smaller one on my trout setup in a 5 or 6 weight range with a single hand cast, or something like this bigger 910 that would be used in a saltwater application or a spey rod situation. Again, like I had mentioned, very good balance because of this larger reel on the back end of my 7-weight spey. It's kind of a counterbalance when you're going through the water-loaded Skagit cast. And also, real weight is not something that overly concerns me. It's a personal thing. It's something that you need to feel out for yourself. I don't always like a super lightweight feeling reel, even for a single hand rod. And the reason is that because it's on the back end of your reel and you have a push and pull motion with the tip, going back and forth like this force on the tip is counterbalanced by some sort of a weight on the back end of your fly rod. So something that does feel a little bit heavier in the hand isn't necessarily a bad thing because it's not going to feel super heavy when you're making your casting motion. There's some physics going on there to where a slightly heavier reel may actually be better for a lot of people in that casting motion. So make sure you do some research on that. Again, this one's not super heavy. It's fairly light. It's not going to impede a cast for anybody. Personal preference is going to play a big part in something like that too. The drag system on this thing is nice and easy to operate. Here's the dial on the back. It's a fairly large size dial. It's a metal dial too, and you can grip it with these little grooves. It's fairly easy to turn up and turn down very quickly. The drag system itself is a nicely designed, a fairly compact carbon fiber drag system. That carbon fiber drag disc, in my experience, has quite a longevity and will last anybody a long time. The drag itself, very smooth throughout. Never did I feel like there were any soft spots or any hard spots where the drag would suddenly change as the line's being pulled out. You've got you can crank down or crank or turn this thing a little bit lighter, and of course you'll feel the change as you're turning the dial. But once I have that drag set on some reels that aren't well made, I'm sitting here and a fish is running, pulling line out, and I might feel a weak spot in the drag where too much line starts coming off, or it's too hard and it kind of bites a little bit. That never happened with this Rise reel. It's very smooth throughout. The drag is fully sealed, so dirt, debris, that's just not going to get in there. If you're using this thing for saltwater, that sealed drag is awesome too. Saltwater is super corrosive, and if that gets into your drag system, it'll start rusting some things out. This thing easily converts from left hand to a right hand retrieve. It comes left hand out of the box. The spool itself on this thing is super easy to operate and to get to. On the very front of the reel here, right there, you got a little push button. I don't know if you can hear that or see that going in, but that little logo, that Redington logo right there, I just push that in and then I pull apart. So there you go. There's your drag system and your spool separated. Really easy to pop out. So the spool itself, again, let's get a little bit better look at that thin spoke design. Very modern, nice large arbor, and look at all the porting that you can see. Just a lot of open area that will allow your line to dry all the way down to the bottommost layers of backing there. Of course, then when you're flipping from left to right hand retrieve, if you're a right hand retrieve person who casts left, or maybe you cast right and you're just a purist who casts right and reels right as well. Remember, you can't just flip the reel over and start using it. If you do that, fish will be pulling against what's supposed to be your stripping tension, and then you'll be reeling in against the drag of the reel. So once you pop this open, it's super easy to pop this little pin out, flip the clutch, and then pop this back on. Then your drag system is set up in the right way, and then you can, there we go, pretty easy to get back on there. I just wasn't pushing it at the right angle. Then you're from left to right, and now you're reeling against the lighter pressure that's supposed to be there, and then the fish is pulling out against the drag system of the reel. So what's the sound on this thing, you ask? Well, let me see if I can get it near my microphone, then you can hear. So there's the reeling sound. Now I tucked the line in there on accident. All right, let's see what it sounds like when a fish is pulling against it. So a lot of line noise in there, but if you couldn't hear it, it was basically the same sound as when the line was coming out as I was when I was reeling. So sound is an important thing to some people. Some people don't really care as much. This sound, I would say, is on the lighter end. It's very pleasant. It's not loud and annoying at all. If you're someone who really likes to hear your reel screaming, you might not like this sound as much. But personally, I like a quieter reel. It's just annoying for me to have a very loud, talkative reel, and also if it's a loud reel, it kind of ruins your stealth approaches. If you're fishing something that's rising, that's super close to you, or some sort of close in, stealthy saltwater situation. And that was a lot of S's. And you're trying to get some line off your reel really quickly. Those really, really loud reels, to me, just it sends out too much vibration into the atmosphere, and maybe even into the water, and those fish can be really alerted by that. So I really appreciate the sound on this Redington Rise. I thought it was quite pleasant. Redington always gives you some really fun colors to think about. This silver is fairly traditional, of course. Nothing really too special about that. Does have a really cool red. Let me see if I can get that on there. Yeah, there we go. Down by the drag here inside the spool, you got a little pop of red. That's really cool. Also available in black, which is a very traditional color. But of course, Redington's going to throw some really fun stuff at you. It's kind of just what they do. It's part of their culture. This is available in olive, amber, and also a colorway called amethyst, which is kind of interesting. So got a lot to choose from there. What's the price, you ask? That's a great question. There are two different pricings on the Redington Rise 3 reel. If you're looking for that 3, 4, or 5, 6 reel, something that's a little bit smaller, you're going to pay $219 retail. If you need the bigger 7, 8, or this 9, 10, they're going to charge you $249. Not a significant difference, and I think that that's okay because you're getting more material and more work put into these big reels. I think it's a great deal for what you get. My overall thoughts on this reel are extremely positive. In doing this review, I was trying to figure out who I think that this might be a great reel for, and I would say that as a beginner, you could definitely spend a couple bucks more and get a good reel like this that you can grow into and it'll last you a really long time. But it's a great intermediate reel. Anybody who's an intermediate fisher that wants to spend over 200 bucks to get a good reel that's going to last a long time and looks great, I think this is the reel for you. This is really a solid choice. Guides, of course. I always talk about guides because I am one. Our equipment just gets beat up. It gets a lot of use in a short period of time. We got clients who drop it in the boat, just kind of drop smack down into the bottom of the boat, into the river, gets stepped on, gets just beat up. So if you're not wanting to drop 500 bucks on a new reel that's just going to get beat to crap, this is just a great way for a guide to go as well. What type of fishing is this best for? I would say that any trout fisher, any bass fisher, you're going to get good use out of this. This is a great reel for those. Most freshwater situations, even steelhead. Like I said, this is my spey reel. I use it for swinging for steelhead. Light salt will probably work as well. I do have some Redingtons for light salt, although even if you're staying in the Redington brand, there are better saltwater reels for sure. We can talk about that later. This one still will get the job done, but there are better, higher drag systems even from Redington for saltwater. Is this one worth the money? Heck yeah. If you ask me, you're getting a big bang for your buck on this one. 220 or 249, 250 bucks. A lot of reel for that money. I think you're doing well when you're spending that and getting this much in that package. Compare that one to the Lamson Remix. I might like this one a little bit more. It's better looking than the Lamson Remix. It's a fully machined reel, where the Remix is a blend of cast and machined. And so this one, although the drag systems on both of those are comparable, and I am sort of a Lamson fan, I might put this one just slightly above. TFO NTR, that no tools required, the NTR has a cork drag. This one with the carbon fiber, I tend to feel that the cork drag might give out sooner. It might be a strong drag to start with, but we're talking longevity here. Something like a carbon fiber like this one, in my opinion, I just have a little bit more faith in the long term. Just to summarize what we've seen here, this is a sleek looking, affordable reel. For someone who wants to look good, have a long-lasting reel but doesn't want to break the bank, and if you're not relying on this reel to stop the big fish, because the drag it's strong enough, don't get me wrong, it's just not like insanely strong, and you're more of a finesse person, you just need to put some tension on that fish, then I think this is a great reel. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, check out all our other videos on Into Fly Fishing. Don't forget to like this video and follow us on all the social medias, and we just really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.